1 2 man. I've been down and out, man. DJ Chase, I'm back. 2025, 2026. You know the vibes, man. I've been super busy, just getting my life back in order. But you know what it is, man. The pregame part of this podcast back like I never left, man. I got a few sponsors before I get to this fire episode. This episode is download that DJ Chase Radio mobile app on your iPhone, on your Android. Podcast directory, use the promo code DJ Chase to get 20% off your order. Get in touch with the hottest podcasts, such as myself. Groove, the hottest platform, to get in touch with playlist curators. Get feedback from real people, not bots. And Volcana, the hot new music platform. Get playlists and community and get paid from your music. But today I got a special guest. She's a talented artist, a talented political activist. She does it. You know what I'm saying? We got a dope episode today. I have a lot of great questions today. New York's own, Bronx own, you know this man, Keris Lové in the building. How you doing, Queen?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me on.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Like I said, the world has been going to hell in a handbasket these last couple of weeks, boy. I tell you. So,
Absolutely.
yeah. So I definitely want to touch on a few topics. First I want to get into your background, and then we're gonna get into the meat and potatoes of this conversation today, because you have so much on your resume, you have so many great accolades and things like that. So I'm very honored to speak to you as well.
Thank you.
So first and foremost, let's get now enough all me. I want you to tell your story. So with that being said, you're from the Bronx, New York, correct?
Absolutely. BX in the building.
Of course, of course. So what part?
Parkchester.
Okay. Not far from me. I grew up in Soundview, Story Avenue.
Oh, we right there.
Right there.
Absolutely.
Yes, of course. Parkchester's good with me.
Okay, cool.
For sure. Now, coming from that environment that we come from, and that area particularly, because I grew up in both. I grew up in Soundview and Harlem, so I'm back and forth.
Okay, same.
So yeah. So with that being said, you know, we don't go to college. A lot of people from my neighborhood, you either end up in a jail cell, you Rikers, or you're a drug dealer. You know what I'm saying? Did hardly even basketball players, things like that. So you worked your way up and ended up at Buff State. And what made you say, you know what, I'm gonna pull myself up and go to college and make and change my background and not be a product of my environment?
Well, I have to give a lot of the credit to my community. And I think it's really important when we raise kids in community.
Mm.
I really don't believe in saying self-made, because I'm not. I got a very dual background. There's some hustlers, there's some preachers, there's some activists, some musicians. And then there was always high expectations for me. Always. Even from the hood, even in the hood, it was like, don't talk to her. She's got she's got things to do. And so for me, it was just, I wasn't escaping the Bronx, because I love the Bronx. I love New York. I love my roots, but I just wanted to expand them. I wanted to see more, and college was always on the table. It was like, I don't know how we're going to afford it, but you going. That's just it. You going.
Yeah. Gotcha. And what made you pick Buff State? Because I'm an Oswego guy myself, so Buff State is, they're on the other side, but I'm an Oswego guy myself. What made you go to Buff State?
Well, okay, I'm gonna be real honest with y'all. Listen, Buff State is one of the party schools of the SUNY system.
Oh, I know. I want to go to Fredonia, so I know about Buff State. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
I want to go to Buff State.
So that was one. And I did want it to changing my environment in some ways. New York State is so large. And when you live in New York City, New York City seems like that's New York State.
Yeah.
And it's not. And so, Buffalo, it was far away. Like, I felt like I was away, but, still within the state or whatever. And I chose it there, for those reasons. And they chose me, and they made a great choice. I made a great choice.
Yeah, not wrong, Buff State. Buff State, the best, the funnest reggae parties ever is Buff State.
All of the Dollar Jams. I'm telling you, we're the party school of the SUNY.
A little fun fact. Actually, my record company is called Worldwide Sounds, and my boy DJ A-Hop Alton, he went to Buff State, and I started with them. So Caution Sounds, all those guys.
I know Caution Sounds. Yeah.
We used to battle all the time. So just a little tidbit. Yeah, we used to battle. Like it was fun back then. It was fun. Yeah, Caution Sounds, Spinfo, Illmatic, all those guys.
Illmatic, boy.
Yeah, that's my guy.
Illmatic had me at them parties when I needed to be home sleep, getting ready for class.
Yeah. So we all come from the same lineage. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So with that being said, did you go with like both your parents and things like that, or just your mom or just your dad?
I did. So my mom was a single mom.
Mm.
My dad fell victim to the incarceration system and
Okay.
mental health and substance abuse.
Mm.
However, his family, again, that
Mm.
community, my father's mother, his
Mm.
brothers, sisters, my cousins, I grew up with both sides of my family very strong. My
Yeah.
father's family lived in the north side of Parkchester,
Mm.
and my mom lived in the west.
Yeah.
And so, no matter
Yeah.
where I went, it was like we know who you belong to.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that going to college, I realized, learning. I studied political science,
Mm.
and so you really start to learn when they talk about people being predisposed to poverty and things like that. There are a lot of things in my situation where it didn't hit because
Mm.
I had grandparents, I had
Mm.
aunts, uncles, godmothers, cousins, church
Yeah.
people, and so not that not have my father being incarcerated mostly all my life and in and out of rehab. Of course, it did. It
Mm.
impacted me. Of course, it did.
Yeah.
Because we are a lot alike in a lot of ways. We're the same sign. He's super smart.
Yeah.
But it didn't. It wasn't to the point to where it hindered my own growth. It
Mm.
wasn't something that I internalized.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Yeah, and the
Mhm.
reason I asked that too is because uh, a lot of times, like even like with me, music sometimes or anything we do in life is kind of sparked by our upbringing. And
Yep.
what made you like say, what, even though you said you got into political science and things like that, what made you want to go full force with it? Because there's a difference, because like everybody kind of just says I want to do politics and I want to just be they get into it for all the wrong reasons, which we're going to talk about today.
Mhm.
What made you really really go into it? Because it could change your life in a way. You know how these people are at the top. They'll dig dirt on you, that they'll make stuff up. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And what made you say, what, I want to go all in?
So my family background, my nana was a former Black Panther in Harlem,
Mm.
and she worked with National Action Network under Al Sharpton up until COVID.
Yeah, yeah.
She's late into her 80s now and
Mm.
recovering from health things. She's at that
Yeah.
age where it's like she put her marching shoes down.
Yeah.
So the activism I was always around that
Uh-huh.
from my family. And then music, I was a theater kid. I went to Harlem
Mm.
School of the Arts.
Yeah.
My nana put me into all those things.
Yeah.
And so the music and activism was always there. But my grandmother taught me, she just was like, if you want something done, nobody's going to give it to you. You got to advocate for yourself. You got to advocate for your people.
Mm.
And so because of our political structure, we use the system in which we have, but at the
Mm.
same time,
Yeah.
we try to disrupt it and build something that actually works for us. So
Yeah.
I spent, afternoons at the National Action Network around Dick Gregory and all these Jesse Jackson and all these great people and all these
Mm.
great um, activists and elders. And so it was always in me. It was just like,
Mm.
you have to be the change that you want to see. So political
Mm.
science seemed to be the route when I
Mm.
studied. In Black families, they like, listen, you a talented artist and all, but we ain't finna pay for no art degree. You better pick something
Yeah.
real.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was like, all right, I'm gonna pick something real.
Yeah.
But political science gave me the range to understand politics and how we put it together and how all of this is made up and we can
Yep.
change it at any moment.
Yep. Yeah, sure is. All right, let me ask you this question, right? So
Mhm.
now you got, what is the your company, the NNLB? What does that stand for?
So NNLB is a nonprofit I founded in 2019.
Mm.
It it has many meanings.
Okay.
Our mission statement says that we do not, because we are of enslaved colonized people, especially on this soil in Turtle Island. Um, we're gonna name ourselves. So NNLB means different things to different people, but
Mm.
at the root, our mission is direct reparations, dismantling poverty and the incarceration system.
Mm.
And so I've had people come up to me and say, NNOB means, niggas need love, B. Like whatever.
Yeah,
It's whatever
yeah,
you want to name
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's
People
from that,
ignorant. People are ignorant as hell, so they're not
they
gonna.
are, but
Yeah.
it is we did not want it to be a specific acronym because we're also trying to teach how you get to rename yourself. These last names that we have are colonizer names.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it's kind of like what Malcolm X with the X. You define who you are. So.
Got you. And with that being said, I want to ask you this, right? Because I've DJ'd a lot of political events. I'm really big on like youth advocacy and because like I said, we as Harlem kids, we come from like the YMCA's and I'm
Yep.
87, so you know what I'm saying. Like we was out there, you know what I'm saying. So we were taught a different way, and I feel like a lot of times, especially now, I look young. I have great genes. I'm glad I look young, but I'm an old head too, you know what I'm saying. But I say that to say, how do you feel about so many politicians today? And this is something that kind of drives me crazy. Is like, do you really care like for the community, or do you just have like you just want to be accepted by white people? You know what I'm saying? And do you feel like a lot of politicians today, especially, are not getting the point across because they're so busy trying to be famous or push their own selfish daddy issues on the world that they're not looking at it as a collective?
So at this moment, you know, I think a lot about what Malcolm X said about, making celebrities and people like that your idols. And so we are living in a moment where our politicians are not supposed to be celebrities. They're not. We're not.
Yeah.
They're not supposed to have a fan base or anything. They are public servants. We vote them in. We pay them a salary with our taxes to make policies and legislations that we say we want. They should not be, these people that we idol, that we look up to. And I think when you look at social media, when you look at who runs big media platforms, broadcasting, all those things.
I'm in it. You see what I do. So,
I know. And
I'm an independent platform, so you know what I deal with.
I love the independent platforms, the podcast, the radio show, the stream, because you guys are the last line of defense to get the real word out there. And so the media helps to control these narratives. Now, so not my issue, but how I look at it, with our politicians is like, at all different levels, at the local level is another one of our last line of defense. That's your councilman, your state.
Yeah.
We really need them to be accountable to us. Now, at the federal level, the only way we're gonna really dismantle that is that we have to get dark money out of politics. Money is running politics.
Yeah.
Not the people.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Our girl Cori Bush is running again. I'm so happy that she's running, but she was unseated because millions and millions and millions of dollars was poured into a campaign, not because her constituents didn't want her, but because she has global politics that's like, I don't want to send money anywhere when my district needs it, when we don't got health care, we don't got clean water. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's where we are. We gotta get big money out of politics.
And I know you don't have a direct solution because it's not a direct solution. This is a 400, 500, 600 year head start. So, we just small fish in the sea. But with that being said, let me ask you this question, right? So, how do you feel about Black people leaning towards more conservative Republican politics? Like, how do you feel about that?
I was asked this question recently and I was like, man, I'm so thankful that in my ecosystem, I don't have any of those like relatives or friends or anything, because I have to whip y'all into shape.
Yeah.
But what I will say is that sometimes we lean into those for survival. We lean into it for survival. Unfortunately, there's a caste system within a caste system within a caste system here in this country. So you've got the racial, you've got the Black, white, but even within the race, you have the gender, then you have religion, and you have all these different caste systems. And I think sometimes we lean into, it's really easy to lean into white supremacy talking points because you want to stand out as the good one. The good Negro, the good Black. I don't feel comfortable when I walk into a space and I'm the only Black person there. I'm like, where's all the Black people? And why did y'all just pick me? That makes me uncomfortable. But some of us have taken that and know that means that I'm the one. And so we don't get free when one of us makes it. We only get free when we all make it. And so we have to decolonize our mind. And that's really what it is that a lot of us have a lot of decolonizing to do.
Yeah. Okay. And let me ask you another question, right? Because like I said, I trust people with knowledge. You know what I'm saying? I don't know everything. You know what I'm saying? I know what I've experienced, and especially being a black business owner. You know what I'm saying? I say that to say the most racist. You'll know who the real racists are in this country when you own a black-owned business. I'll put it to you that way. And with that being said, my biggest gripe is this. Sometimes with the Democrats and like I said, with me, I don't sway with no way another, one way or another. But one thing I noticed with Democrats is this, right? Especially particularly black Democrats. They have no sense of transaction, right? And with that being said, like me, I'm a business guy. Money makes the world go around. I'm at least I know that in the world. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times with the Democrats, they'll either lean like to female politics, right? In the sense like they only advocate for women's rights or women's needs. And it's never transactional, right? So it's never like balanced transaction. And I feel like a lot of times with the Republicans, they understand balanced transactions. So they'll know, okay, this week we're gonna target the redneck coal miner in Virginia. They'll speak to that person. The Democrats feel like they have to cater to everybody, and it is either what makes them feel comfortable. But why do they do that?
So what I'm hearing is specificity between both parties do that. So
yeah,
I'm gonna hold your hand, and everybody who's listening, I'm gonna hold y'all hand when I say this.
All right.
This two-party system ain't working for nobody.
I agree.
It's not working for anyone unless you're part of the super wealthy. No matter which aisle you stand on.
I agree.
That's just, so we got to sit with that. And as far as transactions, I've been blessed to work and pass policies at a local and state level. And I will say that the only thing that gets them to actually move is either people power or money. And so those talking points that you might hear, that doesn't always translate into actual policy. Because if it did, Black women and Black men would be the highest beneficiaries when the Democrats are in office.
Correct.
Why? Because we are their biggest supporters.
Correct.
And that doesn't track. Black women still make less to the dollar than white men. Black men are still overly incarcerated, overly heavily policed. So even when they're in power, the two groups that help them to keep them there, you guys, they don't even produce policies to where we could be like, yo, we on top for the next 4 years, 8 years, or whatever the case may be. Because it's all just talking points. It's all just talking points. They put something out, there's headlines. But then when you go and you scan and you read the legislation that they're sponsoring and you looking in paragraph 3, that's what people like myself and other policy folks, that's what we do. That's when you're just like, this don't got nothing to do with us.
Yeah.
This don't have anything to do, the George Floyd Act. It sounds great. It's like the George Floyd Act. Movement for Black Lives was like, actually, once we went into the nitty gritty, the George Floyd Act is not even going to stop more George Floyds. And so that campaign led to the Breathe Act. And that was Cori Bush. She was a supporter of that. Ayanna Pressley, she's another supporter of the Breathe Act. Because once you got down to the nitty gritty, you just slapped the name on it so that we can feel comfortable. Oh, it's the George Floyd Act. They're going to pass.
Yeah.
But once you get to the nitty gritty, you're like, wait a minute, why are we still we're trying to not have so much police involvement. We're trying to have more mental health, all these different things. Like, what is going on? And so that's how they get us. But because as a country, as a society, you have to be they don't want us civically educated.
Yeah, of course not.
They don't. Because if we were, then we would know exactly how to hold them accountable. And I want to just back up a little bit when I talked about the money, the dark money in politics. There actually is a solution, and we got one in New York State. Back in 2019, I worked on the there's a campaign to get money out of politics at the state level, campaign finance reform. So we have at New York State, we have campaign finance reform at the local level and at the state level. And basically, if you and I give $10, it's matched like $7. You know what I mean? So our money, these small donors and these small donations mean something. So we were able to get that out the state level. We don't have it at the federal level, which is why you have these PACs.
Yeah.
We don't know where these PACs are. They are not even in the country.
Yeah, I seen that with Pras Michelle, from the Fugees, like how you got caught up with that.
Yes, and they push these PACs with these money, right? And so we need a type of campaign finance reform at the federal level to get the dark money out of politics.
Got you. And with that being said, now something you very do that I'm actually very intrigued about is reparations, the reparations project and reform and things of that nature. Okay, now entertainers, especially these people that don't know what they're talking about, they make fun of it. So why is I'm gonna ask the first question: why is reparations important for Black people, African Americans?
Because it's a debt. It's a debt that's owed. That's it. That's all. This country, this is stolen land. It's an illegal colony, and the foundations was built on stolen labor. Full stop. It's a debt. So, and it's a debt that the country is still. Whether you were here, whether your family was here, or whether you came after, it doesn't matter where you sit right now. Everyone is benefiting from the stolen land and the stolen labor that built this. Full stop. It's a debt. And the debt grows. It continues with interest. Yesterday's prices is not today's prices.
Of course.
So for slavery and Jim Crow, because even after slavery, we had 100 years of Jim Crow. We had all those black law, all those codes, all the lynchings, the sharecropping. 3 of my grandparents were sharecroppers. And the stories that they've told me, my grandfather reminds me every day. He keeps telling me, he's like, are they going to send my check yet? They got my money. Don't forget to tell him I helped build Lee County when I was 9. I was a sharecropper at 9. He sharecropped for half the year. And then the other half, then he went to school for the other half, but he had to sharecrop half the year starting at age 9. So it's a debt, and it's actually gaining popularity. The issue we're having, or at least the issue that has just been raised, is media. It's media. It's the narrative. It's the big platforms that's not. So I just came back from a reparations symposium in Evanston, Illinois. Shout out to Evanston, who passed reparations. They passed reparations in Evanston.
That's what's up.
With $25,000 to Black descendants so they can purchase homes. And while I was there, the mayor pledged another $10 million to the fund. Like they have a fund that they are, disseminating money from. So it's happening all across the country. Reparations is gaining popularity. However, it's just the media is not picking up on that.
Well, like I said, you have a platform now, and I'm big on that. So I'm going to clip this up, particularly clip it up. Now, because even like with Illinois, right? Because Chicago, many people don't even know. I'm very sure the kids in Chicago don't even know. I'm like, Chicago was founded by a Black man, right? Like Chicago was actually founded by a Black man. Like Chicago was founded by that. And, with reparations, what do you think would be a solution? And do you think it should go to foundational Black Americans? Or, I do, what I'm saying? Because everybody, feels like they are included in this. But, should it go to just all people of color, or mainly like how would it work to distribute that reparations? Excuse me.
So we definitely have to have a eligibility requirement, and we have to look at this from an equitable standpoint. And so I say that to say that there are living survivors of Jim Crow that walk amongst us. Mother Fletcher just passed, one of the last survivors of the Tulsa massacre. She should have gotten paid. She should not have left this earth without getting paid. And so when you do look at the data, those of us who are descendants from the enslaved folks here, we have less wealth and income than those who came after.
Yeah, we do.
I mean, it's just, the numbers are there. And so you have to rehab that. That doesn't mean that that other Black folks will not benefit, because we know that the oppression of Black people did not stop at slavery, did not stop at Jim Crow.
And it's still going on.
It is still going on. All these vestiges, right, that has come out of it. Everything from policing, everything from, you can take a Black couple with the same credit score and income, and they'll go get a loan for a bank, and their interest will be higher than the white couple, apples to apples, right? Yep. It don't matter where the Black people are from, like, that's gonna happen. So we have to remedy that. But I'm a firm believer of, we got to start cutting checks to the people that are still alive. Like, we got to start cutting checks to my grandfather.
Yeah, and I agree. And one of the things that I noticed too. So for me, for example, I'm a small business owner. I moved out of New York because I got sick of it, sick of the abuse, got sick of it. You know what I'm saying? But I'm down here in Charlotte. I've dealt with, I've dealt with, and not even from the white people. I've dealt with it from the Black people. You know what I'm saying? As far as like the strange looks and stuff like that. But the reason why I bring it up like that, and not to make it about myself, but I say it like, do you feel like giving people all that money would go to good causes? So like, would they say, okay, like with me, I'm big on financial literacy. So you say, okay, for example, trying to get a business loan. I don't have like super bad credit. Like I just got student loans and nothing. I don't have no evictions, nothing like that. They will drive me up the wall to give me a business loan. You know what I'm saying? They make it so difficult. But as far as like Black Americans, we always feel like we have to tear each other down and pull each other down and say, well, you don't have 16 Lamborghinis, you must be a failure. And the reason why I say it like that is because, do you feel like reparations would hurt the community and they would just spend it on nonsense, or they would put it in a Roth IRA, treasury bonds, stock market, things like that?
So first, let me say that reparations is separate from how successful you'll be, because it's a debt that is owed. And when this country gave reparations to the survivors of the Japanese internment camps, they gave them reparations.
A lot of money, yeah.
I think it was $20,000 per survivor, and it had nothing to do with whether they would be successful or not. It's a debt. That's just it. So what you do as an individual, I'm not advocating for that. I'm not here to play into the fact that Black people are the only people on the planet that don't know what to do with money, or who are the only people on the planet that's going to make bad choices. And I also want to leave space and grace for the Black folks who are like, I might not want to put it in a Roth or IRA. I might not want to, because this is the man systems anyway. We might want to build a whole nother system where to put our money. So I have to say that, and that is, of course, that is questions that we get in the reparations space. Well, if we give y'all money, well, you give everybody else money. You give everybody else money, and it's a debt. What we do with it is what we do with it. Are there going to be people who are going to? Yes, because it's a capitalist society and everything. We're not the only ones that act individualistic, but the way in which we act is because we are not in our natural habitat. We use that term, crabs in the barrel, all the time, but the barrel is not our natural habitat. So of course we're gonna act like that.
Thank you.
You gotta break the barrel.
You're the first person to answer that question for me correctly. Thank you. Because I fight this. Listen, I don't put the fight up. I don't have it in me no more. But I thank you for answering it like that. And I'm gonna clip that up 100%. So with that being said, I want to talk about music right quick, right, Queen?
Okay.
Like I said, you got a place in my heart, because But with that being said, let's talk about some art now. All in all, art and politics and all of this and just culture is part of the fight and part of the cause. And one thing, you are an artist, correct? Both in physical art or music art. Which one are you both?
I am what they call an artivist.
Activist.
So it was a term. My mentor, Carmen Perez Jordan, she's the CEO of the Gathering for Justice, and what was one of the four co-chairs of the Women's March. And I had the pleasure of meeting Mr. Harry Belafonte before he passed, and she exposed me to how artists are supposed to move within the social justice movement. So an artivist is someone who uses all disciplines of art to teach, to give voice to the community and what it is that we're fighting for. Music is my main discipline. Writing is my main discipline. Producing music is my main discipline. But I have curated art galleries. I have curated exhibits that were mainly on social justice topics. So all the art in the exhibit spoke to a social justice issue.
Love it, love it. Now, what do you love more? Do you love music more, or do you love politics more?
Both. I can't choose.
Yeah.
I can't. And yeah. That's new for me. My mentor is like, listen, you don't have to compartmentalize. You're all the things. So I get very excited.
Yes.
So I want to shout out New Yorkers for Reparations. It's a statewide coalition. We are the coalition fighting to pass the reparations policy here in New York State that the governor signed. And I love that coalition of people. I get very excited figuring out what policies we should put in, what we need to ask for. But at the same time, I'm super, super excited about when I create music. You know, I'm working on a new house track right now. So that's, I can't choose, and I won't.
Okay, good. So I want to talk about the Gathering for Justice that I believe record with my son. My guy working with the man. Now I never met him in person, but no, I think I did meet him in person. I think I met him before. Yeah, my guy, my son, Jackie Cruz and FIFA. That's streaming right now. How did that record come about?
Mr. Belafonte went to Carmen and said, "Your generation needs your own movement song. You guys need your own anthem." So Mr. B would say, "Every generation leaves you breadcrumbs, but the elders leave you breadcrumbs, but it is the responsibility of that current generation to do their own revolution. Like you have to create your own revolution." And so Carmen brought us all together and was like, "Listen, Mr. B said we need our movement song. So who's gonna say no?" Like Harry Belafonte is telling you,
you ain't saying no to that. Yeah.
Nobody's saying no.
You ain't saying no to
so that. It was just, they're like, everybody show up at the studio at this time, and all four of us, and our producer and the cameraman was in the studio for like 8 to 10 hours, and we were like, we're not leaving without a banger. But we did it. We created it from scratch right there.
Love it.
We presented it to him, and he loved it. He loved it. So
that's what's up. That's what's up. Yeah, that's what's up for sure. Now, one thing with me, I want to ask you this, right? Especially with me, like I fight as best as I can. You know what I'm saying? Especially with the boys, and I was going to schools in New York and speaking at Men's Career Day and speaking about Black literacy, especially with the boys that can't read, they can't do math. Literacy is something that's really big, important to me, because I would not have any of this. I built all this on my own. Like I am self-made. You know what I'm saying? My family, they don't own businesses. So, I'm the first in my family to do what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? But I say that to say, but especially, like I said, particularly with the boys in the music business, a lot of the young boys, they want to be rappers. They want to be in front of the camera, you know what I'm saying? Or streamers and things like that. But they never look at the business side. They never look at the publishing. They never look at the stuff that you could do. You make way more money doing just technical aspects of things, but they don't have the education to pursue those things. What are some of your initiatives as far as that, as far as like helping keep the Black boys out of those survivalist situations, is being told, "Oh, you the man in the house at 5 years old. You trying to play with a toy, you get told you're a man in the house." Do you have any initiatives towards those?
Yeah, so I launched a poetry competition PS 106 in the Bronx. Shout out to PS 106 in Parkchester. The young people there, one of the modules for the curriculum was learning poetry. And so the kids at first were not, some of them were like, oh, yes, I want to do this, and some weren't. The school brought me in. I got to talk to them. I got to talk to them about politics, art, and all the things. And they, got really, really involved in it. And so I gave them a challenge. I said, well, write me a poem. Write me a poem on whatever it is that you want to write about. And then I would pick winners, and the winners are going to be on my album coming out later this year.
Nice.
And that competition spawned into something so big. And when you give kids the tools, they can do anything. So these kids were writing poems about, this one girl's poem basically was about climate change. It was just like, we don't have enough, we don't get to touch grass because there's not enough grass in our neighborhoods. There ain't no trees in our neighborhoods, Another kid, wrote about friendships and how picking the right people is important if you want to be successful in life. Another kid wrote about a building that burned down in our neighborhood that I didn't even know about. It burned down on East Tremont. And his poem was about how long they let it sit there before fixing it. This is fourth grade. Fourth graders. And I was so blown away by how they wrote poems, following the structure, all the things, how they wrote these poems based off of what they're seeing in society. So if we give kids the tools to do and not just make them great test takers, which they're not even great test takers, that's not even working. If we enrich them with more arts, more sports, all those things, they can do whatever. But those things are not as available as they used to be. We're not prioritizing those things. When I was studying music in school, voice was my thing. But there was a time where my teacher was like, well, you have to take musicianship because you need to learn how to read music. You need to understand how to compose. You need to understand all those things. And so, we're cutting those programs in schools and after schools, and the funding is not going to that. And nonprofits are having a hard time trying to, build up those spaces. So we're doing what we can, each of us taking our personal responsibility to fix something that's really structural.
Got you. And with that being, Queen, I got one last question. We could do that. I want to do this again. You know what I'm saying? Like, because like I said, you gave some very good answers. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times, like I said, I've been doing this a long, long time. So, but I was one of the kids in Oswego fighting the cause. You know what I'm saying? And so with that being said, I always want to ask this: what's next for Keris Lové? Excuse me.
What's next? Okay, so I have my album, my first actually like self, I've been writing and ghostwriting for many, many, many years, but I'm actually producing my own album.
Okay.
That's next. And it's going to feature those students. My album's going to feature those students that I talked about, which is going to be really, really cool. Working on that. My reparations work, we're going to pass reparations in New York State. So if you're listening from New York State, we're going to pass reparations in New York State. That's absolutely going to happen. And then I'm going to round it all off with an exhibit. I'll just leave it like that.
Yeah.
This project that I'm working on is going to definitely let folks into my, like, what inspired me, my roots, my upbringing. I spent some time this summer on my family's land in South Carolina. I had never been. And I walked the cemetery of my enslaved ancestors. And it blew me away to see headstones from like 1790. It was insane. Like, I've just been gathering all those things. And so my album and my art exhibit is going to be a compilation of all those things.
Nice. Got you. And my very last question is this, Queen. You are a gem. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, a lot of these people, as you see, I'm really good at it. I keep my poker face on really well. But you really, really, you have some good insights because a lot of politicians I meet, like I said, they're very self-deprecating and it's annoying. And they never give answers that like it's always like I said, it's always one-sided. It's always like, well, that's great. That's great, but it's never as a whole. You know what I'm saying? It's always the woman, the man that pushes them. And it's not like it's not about that. Like if I help myself, it's gonna help you. It's gonna benefit you. You know what I'm saying? And everybody, like I said, they have this 48 laws of power mindset, and I'm like, that's not how the world works. The world does not revolve like that. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, my very last question is this, Queen. You have so much advice, you have so much correct insight. What is one piece of advice that you would give anyone getting into the politics today?
If you're thinking about getting into politics as a politician,
And hold on before you answer that, right? The reason why I didn't say activism was
okay.
because I particularly used the word politics on purpose. So if that I did that on purpose. So with that being said, what is one piece of advice that you would give anyone getting into politics today?
If you're getting into politics, the first thing you need to ask yourself is why. Whatever that answer is, yo, stand on it. Stand 10 toes down. Just stand 10 toes down on it. If it is, don't sell people, a bag of wooden nickels, as my grandfather would say.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Stand
ma'am.
10 toes down. Stand 10 toes down in what it is that you are entering. You're entering politics for. And let your karma decide your fate. That's all I can say. Do I want politicians to do? I will say this. There's enough for everybody to eat.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. We don't have to fight for scraps. And so being equitable and intersectional is forever moving. And sometimes you'll need to prioritize this group because their house is on fire now. Right?
Yeah.
So, but the house next door is not on fire. So we don't need to rush and pour water on that house right now. We need to pour water on the house that's on fire.
Yes, ma'am.
And
yes,
that
ma'am.
is okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that we're not going to go check the house next door to make sure no smoke or anything like that. But we got to put the fire out first.
Yes, ma'am.
There's
yes,
enough
ma'am.
for us to eat. It is.
Love it. Thank you. You already know, man. Once again, man, the Pregame Party Miss Podcast, Keris Lové, can you plug your social media, your website? Where can people find you when that album drop and plug, promote everything?
Yes. So first, my website is Keris Lové. Lové is spelled LOVE.com. It is Keris Lové spelled LOVE on all social media platforms. That's TikTok, that's Threads, that's Instagram, Facebook. You can stream I Believe, which features my son, FIFA, Jackie Cruz, and the Gathering for Justice, and the legendary Harry Belafonte and Carmen Perez Jordan. Is streaming on all platforms: Spotify, Apple, Tidal, everywhere it's streaming. You can stream I Believe. And that's out now. And as far as my album, just make sure you're following because you don't want to miss it when spring hits.
Well, listen, I need the first. I'm a DJ. I do a little something. I'm a somewhat of a big DJ. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, nah, man. But once again, Keris Lové, a lovely person. Thank you so much for this talk. It actually kind of motivated me. All the stuff I've been going through this week. And I hope it does motivate the next generation because we the aunts and uncles now. You know what I'm saying?
That's
so the
right.
next generation, y'all, the 26s and down, the 30s and down, y'all gotta fight. We can't fight for y'all if y'all don't help. So with that being said, once again, man, it's DJ Chase. I'm signing out. The Pregame Party Miss Podcast right here on WDJCDB, DJ Chase Radio, DJChaseRadio.com, Spotify Podcast, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube DJ Chase TV. And I am out of here. See ya.
Crazy, I could bust it down like a middle part. I just want his money, baby. You